I've got somebody who's just piped in that says teachers should now be hired or fired based on the number of likes they have on Facebook. We can look into that and see if that is somewhere that we can go. Listen, you want to talk about this issue? I've got time to talk about it. I'd love to talk about it. I'd love people from Ilion and Mohawk to call in, and we'll gladly chat about it. 736-0186. All right, Andrew's been working on this story, and this is unbelievable. Kelly Conroy is from Utica. And give me the background here, Andrew. She works with LGBT students?
Right, that's correct. And she received, so according to, on April 16th, she had posted on her personal Facebook page, and this is how I first got familiar with the story. She says, I received this note at my home address, so I guess it was mailed to her, at my home address following recent appearances out in the community and on the media sharing information about the services available to LGBTQ youth in our local area. I attempted to file a police report. Now, originally, her beef was she felt the Utica Police Department wasn't helping out, and they claimed that because this was a freedom of speech issue that she was not able to be helped. And so I talked with Lieutenant Coramato, and basically he was going back and forth with Kelly, and so I don't have an official statement or anything from the police yet.
All right, let's bring her on. Let's bring her on. Kelly Conroy is with us right now. She received the death threat. Kelly, good morning. Thanks for coming on the radio.
Good morning.
So, so you received a letter, which said, what did the letter say?
Actually, the letter was hand-delivered to my home address. I came home from work on Tuesday the 12th in the afternoon, late in the afternoon, and the note was attached to my rear door of my home with chewed gum. So it was something that someone actually brought onto the property and hooked it on my door.
Well, what did the note say? What did the note say?
I've got the note. Kelly, do you have it with you? If not, I've got it right here, the photo of it.
I actually ended up turning it in. I was able to ultimately turn it in, so I do not have the note in my possession, but if you have it, you're more than welcome to read it.
Okay, so what the note says, Bill, if you're cool with that, underlined at the top left, it said, Satan with an arrow brings evil and temptation, the deceiver, who leads humanity astray. You reflect no God. You prey on weak to satisfy your power/control issues. You are a pedophile. Keep it up, and I will kill you.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So pretty direct.
And Kelly, anybody would be afraid, I'm assuming, after seeing a letter like that, and I'm assuming that's how you felt when you came home and found the letter.
Absolutely. Most concerning for me was the last piece of the note that stated, keep it up and I will kill you, because certainly that is a threat. And so I was very concerned, and I wasn't really sure what keep it up means, so I didn't really know what the writer of the note was looking for me to do, if they were asking me to quit my job or become less visible in the community. I'm not really sure.
Is it your job is to work with these kids who... tell us what your job is, first of all, I guess.
So I work with LGBTQ identified youth in the Mohawk Valley, providing individual support, group support. And I also provide cultural competency trainings out in the community. So, for example, if a school wants to learn more about working with LGBTQ students, then I go in and I can do a training with the staff and also with students as well if there's bullying going on. And that also applies to local businesses and other nonprofits in the area.
Kelly, is the Q is the Q in the LGBT questioning? Forgive my ignorance.
Yes.
It does sometimes apply to questioning. It can mean a couple of different things. Some people interpret the letter Q as queer, which historically has been a negative word used against people in the past. So sometimes people will identify that way as either more of a broader umbrella term within the community or as a way to take that word that's been used against someone and put a positive spin on it.
And it's 2016, and one of the biggest concerns, I think, for a lot of people is that it's still going on. But what are the numbers like in the Mohawk Valley region of kids who are have either come out or have come to you for counseling?
Well, I really believe that LGBTQ LGBTQ youth have always been in the area. But because of the lack of access to resources, a lot of youth really didn't have anyone that they could turn to. So in the past year, we've actually increased our visibility in terms of having written publications about services that are available, and we didn't have that in the past. And I think part of it was because of the possibility of incidents like this happening. But unfortunately, what that does is it really prevents youth from knowing that there is a place where they can access services. So I really do believe that a lot of the growth that we have seen is simply that people know that we're here now.
Right. Do you, obviously, we're going through different times right now. And, this issue of the bathroom is very political, and we're seeing it in other states. And it is difficult when you see someone who is, so you're just you're heterosexual. And for years, you didn't see a guy dressed up as a woman or whatever it is that, whether it's a female dressed up as a male or however they identify themselves. This is all very new for us. And but now there seems to be the time and where they can come out and they can be free, whereas before they kind of had to hide away, right? So I guess my question would be, your role really helps businesses and schools and kids and people in the community find out what is the best way to deal with this. If you have someone at work or if you have someone within a school or in your community, that's what you do with members of the community and businesses?
Yes, that is a piece of what I do, certainly. I think the biggest factor for schools, for example, is that there are state and federal regulations that protect transgender-identified students, and there's a very big difference between someone who is, let's say, dressing, as we say, as a man or dressing as a woman, and someone who actually identifies as transgender, because that is their gender identity. And I think that sometimes we forget that gender identity is in the brain, that it's not about body parts, it's not about chromosomes, it's not about those secondary sex characteristics that people develop. This is really, gender identity is something that exists within the brain, and for most of us that matches, but there are situations where it does not match for an individual. So part of what my role would be is to not only help the student in that situation, but also to provide education to staff. I think a lot of it is a lack of accurate information and fear about what that may entail for other students, when in reality what we see is that it's actually the transgender student who is most concerned about having privacy, body privacy, most concerned about having access to a bathroom to use during the school day. And some of the students that I work with don't use the bathroom at all during the school day because they're afraid to do that.
What do you say? What do you say to the people who say they should use the bathroom that is basically attached to the sex which is on their birth certificate? Well, how do you say that to people? And what do you say to people? Because their fear is that some guy is going to try to sneak in, who's a pervert, is going to try to sneak into the ladies' room.
Right. This is actually a very interesting topic for me because I spent 18 years of my adult life working with victims of sexual assault. So the way that I usually respond to that question is that if there is a perpetrator out there that wants to get access to a victim in a bathroom or in any other location, that they would certainly find a way to do that. And I think a lot of times people say, I don't know anyone who's transgender, or people think that they can tell that someone is transgender by simply looking at them, but taking a snapshot view of someone doesn't really tell us a whole lot about them. So there really is no way to identify what someone's gender is, just simply by taking a look at them. So we've all shared bathrooms with people who identify as transgender and probably didn't realize
didn't even know it.
Yeah. Kelly, if we can go back to this particular incident, so what are the police telling you in regards to this, that they can't move forward, or they're saying they're investigating it?
So initially I brought, when this incident happened on the 12th, I immediately brought the note to the police station and I didn't make it past the front window. So when I did bring the note in, I brought materials from my work to explain the connection and where I think this is coming from. And I really just wanted a report done so that in case this individual returned here where they did have intentions on following through with their statement, that something was documented.
Right.
And I was told that there wasn't anything that they could do about it, that it wasn't a reportable incident.
And you told them it was on your back door at your house or your whatever door. Yeah, wow.
I did.
I guess I did.
Yeah, but I think that I do think that one of the problems that you run into is that this is the case with everything. When someone makes a threat in New York State, it isn't necessarily automatically a crime. And that might be what is in play here. And I don't know the exact law, but I don't think this is because this is a transgender issue or anything like that. I think it's just because somebody leaves a note, they say they're going to do something bad to you, until they conduct some sort of action. I'm not really sure what can be done. I'm not sure what police can do.
Well, but Bill,
is that kind of what they said? Is that what they said to you?
That is what they said. So I looked up the current, because I understand that the definition of aggravated harassment has changed in the past several years. So because I've been out of that field for a couple of years, I looked into that to see. And so I think there's a lot of misinterpretation about that piece of the penal law, because it does explicitly state that it needs to be something that is done via electronic means or in person or via the phone. Yeah. But then it goes on to say, or by any other means of delivery. So I think that what's happening is that perhaps law enforcement didn't interpret the definition correctly, because when I did follow up after I followed up again 8 days later with the Utica Police Department and was told again that a crime had not been committed, and I was just simply asking, can I at least fill out a police report, and getting frustrated with really getting nowhere with it, and I really wanted this to be looked into, and I had someone's handwriting and chewed gum, so I thought that was really sufficient in terms of at least taking a look at the note or perhaps keeping it for evidence. So I did contact the local FBI unit here in Utica, and he did classify it as a hate crime. And he also documented it very well, and he also offered to go have a conversation with anyone that might be a potential suspect. But of course, that's really difficult because I don't know where the letter came from. So that's
and Bill, I
want to take the caller. Mark is standing by on the line right now in Whitesboro. Mark, go ahead. You're on. You had a question for the guest here. Go ahead.
I do. I was curious. Take a person like Caitlyn Jenner. Do they feel uncomfortable going into their birth certificate sex bathroom?
Well, certainly for someone that is read as, let's say I identify as a female, and generally people read me as a female, going into the men's room could certainly be a very dangerous situation for any individual. So I think really the main point is that they just want to go to the bathroom.
You know, like
he's asking if the actual transgender person feels uncomfortable going into the bathroom, which is assigned to their birth certificate.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I think she answered that, but go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead with that and answer that.
I just wanted to know that. I was always curious about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, all right. Good question. Thanks, Mark. But you got into that a little earlier, right? You said that that's really the case.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and if I can just add here, I just had a thought, not only in the hate crime aspect of it, but there obviously is some trespassing that went on. If someone's pinning a note to your door, they shouldn't have been on the property to begin with. So I just wanted to throw that in. So, have you heard anything since this initial incident? Have you had any more notes, phone calls?
I have not received any further notes as of today. So I have not heard anything further from this individual. But I'm still concerned that they're out there, and I certainly don't know if they're going to come back or.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, Kelly, I appreciate you sharing your story. It's a shame. And, somebody using religion as the basis for putting this letter up there and scaring you is just that's not right. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Thanks for calling in.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, keep us posted.
All right. Got a break. WIBX.